Are you tired of AI giving you the same generic garbage, making your content sound like every other wannabe marketer or what I call prompt monkey out there creating content here on YouTube and spreading it out on the internet? Well, that changes for you today because I'm giving you an inside look to a framework that is going to change how you use AI to set up your hooks and your intros for your YouTube videos. And we are going to get into it right now. Hey, Gary here with you inside of Prompt PsyOps. This new framework, Prompt PsyOps, the killer YouTube intro system. Hook better, hold longer, win the click war. Now, I love YouTube as a marketer because it is a phenomenal traffic source. I built my channel to almost 23,000 subscribers. I have ups and I have downs, right? Peaks and valleys. Actually, in the latest YouTube Secrets Unlocked newsletter that comes out this month, this is May 2025, I've addressed this valley of despair and the issue that you have with lulls, or when you shoot up super fast and then you ride down, or you find these lulls in creating content in YouTube. So this prompt series, a series of prompts, this framework is near and dear to my heart, but I also had to add a little softener at the end. And I just want to bring that up at the beginning of this video for this framework because of my proven top strategy, traffic to an offer, people, add people to an email list, and my 9-step roadmap for building a profitable online business using YouTube. Again, this framework, I want it to be the killer YouTube intro system to go to the extreme with hooks, to learn how to hook better, to hold people's attention longer, and win the click war, because it is an important thing. And clickbait is a reality. And opening YouTube videos with hooks, strong hooks, and holding people from frame to frame to frame inside of a YouTube video after you have won the click war with your YouTube thumbnail is a real thing. You can't deny it. You can't avoid it. But I think it's important to also hold true and focus on what makes you different and sets you apart with the way that you deliver your content. Of course, the videos that I make here are completely different than the videos that I make over at YouTube because they have to be. Not that I want them to be, and sometimes they're not. And, I'm looking for that fine line with this Prompt PsyOps framework, but I want to show you how I got to this framework. That's why I'm showing you here that I created this video. This framework was created from this video, how to start YouTube videos for better results, from expert YouTuber Nick Nimmin. He's almost at 1 million subscribers. And this is him right here. And he does a really good job. And of course, he's at 1 million subscribers. He's been doing YouTube for a long time. And he's perfected his craft at being a YouTuber. Now, he is a good marketer as well, but he is a YouTuber, right? He knows exactly what to say. And his channel is focused on saying things specifically for people that want to get better at YouTube. So his examples in this video are great. So I took that to ChatGPT and I used what he said here to start developing this killer YouTube intro framework, but I had to add this softener. And I want to show you why that's important as we walk through this framework. Because part one, the killer YouTube intro framework with codename Hookpoint, the goal is to engineer magnetic intros that captivate in the first 5 to 15 seconds, drive retention, and fulfill the psychological promise made by the title and thumbnail. Forget the fluff, start with the fire. I am guilty of both of these things right here, opening videos just because I don't know of a better way to open them, or I'm too lazy, or I didn't have this framework to reference, to go back to. And I knew what I wanted to do or what I wanted to say to open the video, but I didn't spend the time to actually develop the killer YouTube intro following a system or a framework. So I just say, hey guys, welcome back. Or in today's video, we're going to, and I say that, I do that a lot. In today's video, we're going to, and I just say what we're going to do. All right. So what you need to do is you need an emotionally charged problem, outcome, or intrigue the viewer cares about. But the problem, and this is what I'm addressing with all this, what may appear to be rambling at the beginning of this video, is I don't want it to be overly hyped, or I don't want to fine tune it with AI to create something that is not authentic to me in the way that I would say it. Or I want to make sure that I accept and that I'm comfortable with the line that I've drawn between being authentically me and just being the person that gives you information on my informational YouTube channel about how to solve a problem, specifically around marketing, which 30-minute marketing is about. And then also start with fire. All right. But we need to learn how to create a curiosity gap. We need to mirror the click. And this is about your title and thumbnail. I'm going to walk you through an example using a video that I made today before I shot this video and posted on my YouTube channel. And I want to walk through that with Gemini. Delay the ask, deliver first, story-driven, lead with conflict. This is actually optional, whether or not you're telling a story. And a story is not like, hey, today or one time in the past we did this. A story just is about like what you did, why you did it, and the results of the outcome, sort of a mini case study. So the LDT model, what I was learning about, what I did, learn, do, teach, what I learned, what I did, and then what I'm going to show you today. Okay. But here's a summary of the hook point protocol. And then it moves into the prompt PsyOps AI prompt stack that walks you through using this layered LLM, large language model prompt, this system to craft irresistible intros with AI that aligns with your brand, audience, and click psychology. So then you have the first prompt, which is the audience snap load, because you want to start and you want to set the context, act as a YouTube growth strategist. Honestly, I leave these in to set the context, but you could really just start here, ask me with detailed questions, but we'll go ahead and just follow best practices to set this act as a YouTube growth strategist. Ask me detailed questions. My point with that being that AI, specifically ChatGPT and Gemini, have moved past sort of having to tell it act as a YouTube growth strategist. I think at one time it may have been important, but now I don't feel it as important as much. But the point here is to work on your hooks that begin with the viewer psychology, and then this prompt reverse engineers the emotional click state. It's sort of it sets and it prioritizes the emotional state, urgency, curiosity, triggers, and what they hate seeing in other videos. It sets the stage for who you think or who you believe your viewer to be. And this gets really deep in the psychology of, again, YouTube. And again, it's based off of me growing this channel and have done other channels, but also have spent a lot of time watching folks like Nick here, right? Nick Nimmin, and understanding what it is he does and why he does it and how he does it and how he helps other people do it, and experiencing when I take the time to do it versus when I don't. And even if I do spend the time to do it, sometimes it still falls flat, and I want to be authentic, and I need to be able to run that through a filter to make sure that I am staying true to myself when we are using AI, right, to bring the fire, to really heat up the hook. You know what I mean? So to do this hook point engineering. So we're going to start with this question, and I'm going to show you real quick. This is inside of my Morning Fame account. This is where I track all my YouTube videos and line out all my creatives. The thumbnail, this is the thumbnail. We're going to use this in this chat with ChatGPT or with Google Gemini. And this is the video, and this is a transcript. I'm going to use this transcript and sort of do this, get a little meta and do this in reverse, because I want to create a hook. I already created a hook for this when I was doing this framework. It's why I went ahead and sat down and just said, I'm going to hammer out this framework and use it going forward myself. But I want to use this transcript of the video that I actually created and then work to improve it, or work to run it through the AI prompts to show you what I mean by what AI gives you, because AI is just going to focus on the mechanics or what you are telling it to solve the problem, to give you a fire hook. So we're going to run through the audience snap load. I'm going to feed it the transcript to answer these questions. Then we're going to do the title and thumbnail mirror, which is why I showed you this right here, because we're going to need this thumbnail. And I used the transcript, like I said, from this video. And again, this is my channel. But what I did is I went to Google Gemini and I said, act as a YouTube growth strategist. This is the very first prompt inside of this killer hook strategy or framework. Ask me detailed questions. So really what this does is it starts a deep dive and it wants you to understand the emotional state, right? This is just like in all the other marketing prompts, the stages of awareness, like where people are when you start talking to them, where they're at in their head, where you join them with the conversation that they're having in their head. When they're scrolling through YouTube and that thumbnail hits and that title hits and then that intro of your video hits, you want to understand and know their emotional state before they encounter your video, right? Whether they're scrolling or searching or it's shared with them, however they find it, right? So these questions are very important to that. And then let's consider the urgency that might compel them to click, explore the curiosity triggers, and then also you're going to look and think about what they hate seen in other videos on similar topics. Now you could do research with this, and there are tools out there, and Morning Fame actually has some of those tools that will let you go look at comments of some of the bigger channels that get lots of comments. And you can see lots of times with real research, but the AI can sort of go out and pull all this information from the web and sort of give you, right, these turns of phrases or these ideas and thoughts, right, sort of really close to what you would find if you went and did the research. And that's the power of the large language model and its ability to look at a question or look at an input and then go out and use all the data it's been trained on or that it's aware of, and then give you something that is very real or is simulated to the point where you might think it's extremely real, even though it's not. And lots of times that can get you in trouble with a large language model. But we're just going to roll with this so you can see exactly how this works without going too deep on the pros and cons of believing what the AI actually tells you. Because these hooks are on point, right? Let me give you a transcript from a video, and then you can answer the questions for me from that transcript. So again, I'm going to give it one of my videos, or the video that I created that I wanted to create the hook for, again, kind of reverse engineering this sort of in a meta style, to have it answer these questions for me from my video. So it comes back and says, okay, I've watched the transcript based on this video. Here are the answers to your questions about the emotional state. And then this is the AI helping you work through how to answer these questions if you're not really sure how to answer them. So what kind of mood are they likely in? Likely it's a mix of frustration and hope. What specific emotions might be driving them to search for a click or a video like yours? Primarily the desire to escape the frustration. And I don't want to go through all of these because this is, again, not about YouTube, but it is about YouTube. And that's the power of prompt psyops. It's also the pitfall that we run into with prompt psyops, because every framework, every prompt series, every case study, right? Every time we address as a marketer a certain angle for a certain type of content, a piece of content that we're trying to create, we have to go down this rabbit hole, right? We have to get lost in this, because this is what makes us great at getting better at the thing that we want to use AI to get better at. And also it's why I created this filter that I'm going to show you here towards the end of this video. So it walks through urgency and curiosity triggers. And again, you really just can't beat this level of information. But again, I caveat that with, please understand that this is not, right? This is a robot computer making up words to satisfy your curiosity. Okay. So don't take it for what if you went and actually read real comments, if you actually talk to real people, you know what I mean? Like if you have your own audience and you could actually interact with them and have a real conversation with them, don't take that for this, right? This is not that. Okay. And with that, we're just going to move on and just play with this because this really allows you to focus. And you'll see here in a second that the hook, it nails it, but it's not authentic, or it might not be authentic to you and your brand. Or if you're using these prompts to teach people how to do YouTube, you know, you could come off not being authentic in the fact that you don't understand these concepts because maybe you haven't done YouTube if you tried to sell these prompts, but you don't have any experience with YouTube yourself. So the next thing is to go back to the prompt series, right? Because we asked it prompt 1 because we're using the AI prompts here. We went through prompt 1. Now we're going to go to prompt 2, title and thumbnail mirror. This is where you feed it your thumbnail and your title because you want to create alignment between the thumbnail, the title, the click, and then the intro and the hook, right? And then you move into the instant hook generator. And then you have the optional micro narrative if you're doing a story-based video, and then you move into the final hook intro assembly. And this is the final packaging, and it now assembles a seamless, high retention intro ready to use. Now remember, this is a suggested workflow with number 4 being optional, and I want to show you what it came up with, and then I want to back it off and show you the authenticity filter that I added to this prompt series. So here is the thumbnail, and it breaks down the promise and the viewer expectations for your video based on the title and the thumbnail. Gives you the promise being made, a likely viewer expectations, what the intro must deliver in the first 5 seconds. And then you move to the next prompt based on the viewer mindset, and then it starts getting into the actual hard-hitting hook lines. Beginning affiliate marketer still stuck? This 3-step AI plan finally makes ClickBank profits real. You're missing one thing. AI is supposed to make affiliate marketing easy, so why aren't you making money? And it walks through these, and these are gold. But I want to caveat that towards the end, but also want to run this last prompt where it's actually going to generate the hook and the intro. And then I read this, and I'm like, this is fire, but it may not be me. So what I did is I went back, and again, I started with the same video. I could have went and found another video of mine or somebody else's that I really liked or that I enjoyed the intro, or a video that hooked me, and then I enjoyed watching it based upon the experience that I had with the content, based upon the title, the thumbnail, the hook, and the intro, and then the content of the video. I just used mine, but in this case, I'm going to continue this sort of stepping out of the prompts, right? Because when you do this, right, you have to understand that it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your hook, you have your intro. You could go make the video, but for me, right, the focus has to be on understanding that I'm using AI as an assistant, bouncing things back and forth. And even inside of prompt psyops, the point is to, right, use the philosophy of creating content that is real and authentic to you, your brand, and your voice. And lots of times you have to continue this, and you have to say, all right, how did the intro to this video measure up? Give me specifics and reasons why or why not, and how to improve. This is just me having a conversation with the AI based on the fact that I now have, right, what I came for from the prompts. So AI did its job based upon this prompt psyops framework, and I'm good with that. But I want to show you inside the prompt psyops workshop what the actual next level is, right? For you to take this, create your own prompts, or use this, right? Use this philosophy, the prompt psyops philosophy, use my philosophy and the way that I look at things to create real authentic content. So I'm saying, how did the intro to this video measure up? Give me specifics and reasons why or why not, and how to improve. And then I fed it the transcript of the actual video that I made here. And it runs through what it did well, partially, where it falls short and why, how to improve the intro, and then the key changes in the approach. So what it does is it falls back on these hooks, or this primary hook right here. Beginner affiliate marketer still stuck? This 3-step AI plan finally makes ClickBank profits real. Imagine finally having a simple step-by-step way to actually earn recurring income with ClickBank, even if you're just starting out with AI. Ready to discover that missing piece and see the entire beginner-friendly plan in action? Let's dive in. And I don't really have a problem with any of that. It's just not really the way that I speak. So what I did is I went ahead and I said, let's be real about the fact that saying things that hook people and being true to what actually works and the way people speak versus a hype reel is important. Because, you know, my channel is important to me. And yes, I have to bring the hype up to a certain level. I have to win the click. I have to hook people. I have to bring them in and I have to give them real information. But, I want to get better at YouTube, the art of YouTube, which is, you know, giving them what they expect, but also with a huge dose and focus on reality. So a lot of times I'll say, oh, my video didn't do as well as I thought it would because I'm being so real. That's kind of a cop out. And again, this is my focus and my problem with this specific prompt psyops, the killer YouTube intro system. But you can apply this to your emails, your sales copy, your blog post, your social media post, anything and everything that you do that is, your brand, because your stand is your brand and your voice, you own it. You have to be real to it. And sometimes you'll slide in and out of, things that you want to say and belief and pushing things a little to the, over the top, just to see how far you could take it, or to, feel for yourself how far you want to push it, or maybe how far you've adjusted, and what you see and what you feel about the industry, about the niche that you're in, and how you can actually help people, and what you feel comfortable saying to actually get people to take action, to give something a try. And then, whether they fail or succeed, you can always come back to say, look, I was truthful in what I said. You just didn't follow through, something like that. So with that, I want to show you the next, my sort of me being responsible in giving you this power. With great power comes great responsibility. So while you have these great hooks, what I wanted to do is, inside of this framework, the killer YouTube intro system, I wanted to give it to you with an authenticity filter. Okay? Because the core truth, a hook is not a lie. A hook is a lens, a way to say, there's something here for you. Let me show you. But that lens must stay clear, not warped by hype, not fogged by fear. Right? Don't be afraid, right? Don't fear going over the top if you can deliver on it. You know what I'm saying? If you believe it, if you know it to be true, it's okay, right? But you have to be comfortable with it. So, new principle, right? New principle. So a new prompt ops principle is keep it hooked, but keep it human. Add this to your checklist. Ask yourself before finalizing in the intro, would I say this in real life to a friend who actually trusts me? Then reflect on it. Does the promise and the hook match what I actually deliver? Final prompt addition, the authenticity softener. And then this is the prompt to soften that hook. Okay? Because this builds trust. It resonates more deeply. It makes your content sustainable because you're not faking energy that you can't rematch or maintain over a long period of time, and supports creators who don't vibe with high energy, ultra hyped personas. All right. Then here's a example comparison, a hypey version plus an authenticity softened version. And this is based off of what this video was and the fact that I did soften this. And in this chat, I went down here and I said, now review the hook that we've created, make it feel more grounded, less hypey, more like a real person. And you can see here that it is taking and it is revising hook number 1. And it gives me this revised intro that aims to build trust and connection by sounding like a real person, because I am a real person, right? It's weird that we have to think of that way. But even before AI, people on YouTube and social media have gotten to the point, or have always been working towards that point, where they invent a personality for their content, and it may or may not really be who they are and what they actually believe. So this builds trust and connection by sounding like a real person, sharing a genuinely helpful solution rather than a marketer trying to generate hype, right? Rather than a marketer, right, trying to generate hype. Like marketer is a dirty word, which it's not. It's like people that believe sell, SEL, right? Or, selling is something that's dirty or icky, right? Being a salesman, you know what I mean? So that's what I did, and that's what I wanted to share with you in this. This was a longer video, but that's the art, that's the game, that's prompt psyops, right? So I wanted to make sure that I gave you, like, the prompts and the framework that is the killer YouTube intro system that lets AI nail the hook. And you're going to be like, wow, that's good, right? But it doesn't sound like me. Now, with the authenticity filter, you can soften it a little bit, if you need to, if you want to. Keep it hooked, keep it human, right? The new final principle for the prompt psyops, the killer YouTube intro system. And remember, you get full PLR rights to this. You know what I mean? Give credit where credit is due if you create your own, killer YouTube intro system. And don't go out there and sell the killer YouTube intro system, and give people bad information about doing YouTube, because YouTube, like I said, the new YouTube Secrets Unlocked newsletter, and I'll leave a link in the description or in this post for that as well, so you can check that out. It's a my buddy has a YouTube channel, and he does a newsletter about everything he does in YouTube, and I submit a monthly article that he can use if he wants, if he chooses to. So far, he's always added it to his newsletter, and I support that newsletter. I promote that newsletter. I'm a member of that newsletter. I read that newsletter. So check it out. And again, that is Prompt Psyops, the killer YouTube intro system, here inside of the Prompt Psyops workshop. If you got any questions, as always, let me know. If you got any more questions about YouTube, this Prompt Psyops really isn't the place to talk about YouTube. And I talk about YouTube and everything that I do because it is my main and primary traffic source. There's just probably better places to talk about YouTube specifically. But in a general discussion, feel free to ask any questions, and then we can take that wherever we need to, even if it's a one-on-one call. All right. Thanks. And I appreciate you being here in Prompt Psyops workshop, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.